In a quiet Canadian town, a woman disappeared. 5 days later, her car was found, blood-stained and abandoned. Months later, her body was discovered in a shallow grave, brutally beaten and bound. But they had no witnesses, no confession, and no weapon. Just a leather jacket, some blood, and a few cat hairs. What came next would make forensic history. This is the case of Snowball, the cat who caught a killer. October 3rd, 1994. In the small farming community of Tyne Valley, on Prince Edward Island, in Canada, 32-year-old Shirley and Duguay prepared breakfast for her 5 children. She packed lunches, tied shoelaces, and kissed each child goodbye. At 8:15 a.m., the school bus drove off. Then, she got into her blue car and went out to run a few errands. Maybe to get groceries or stop by the post office, or maybe a coffee at the corner store. She had done this 100 times. Nothing seemed different. But Shirley never came back home. Shirley was quiet, caring, and deeply devoted to her kids. She loved spending time with them and did everything she could to make their lives happy and stable. Even after separating from her ex Douglas Beamish, the father of her first 3 children, Shirley stayed strong and focused on raising her children with her present husband, Andy. When Shirley didn't come home on October 3rd, her family grew uneasy. Her mother called and checked in, but there was no answer. It was unlike Shirley to go this long without contact, especially with 5 children depending on her. At first, they told themselves not to panic. She had been going through a hard time: custody battles, court appearances, and a long, stressful history with her ex Douglas Beamish. They hoped she had just taken a break to clear her head. Her mother kept calling, hoping Shirley would pick up, but the phone stayed silent. No one had seen her. No one had heard from her. Each hour that passed felt heavier than the last. By the second day, that uneasy feeling turned to fear. By the third, it was dread. And on the 4th day, that is October 7th, her family couldn't wait any longer. They went to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, and officially reported her missing. Later that same day, police made a discovery that would change the course of the investigation and the lives of everyone who loved her. Later that afternoon, RCMP officers found Shirley's Ford Tempo. It was abandoned off a dirt road, along Highway 169, not far from Tyne Valley. The license plates were missing. Inside the car, they found blood splattered on the seats, the dash, and in the trunk. It looked like someone had tried to wipe it clean, but hadn't done a good job. Tests confirmed what her family feared. It was Shirley's blood. Officers asked neighbors and townspeople if they had seen anything unusual. Some remembered spotting Shirley's car the night she vanished. Others quietly mentioned the problems between her and Beamish. Officers also talked with Shirley's family. They asked if she had plans to leave, or if anyone had threatened her, or if she was worried about someone. The answers all pointed in the same direction. Shirley had been afraid of Douglas. She had confided that she feared for her safety. Detectives interviewed Shirley's estranged partner, Douglas Beamish. When RCMP visited the home, Constable Roger Savoy noticed a white cat wandering inside the house. Its name was Snowball. This detail would later become a crucial part of the case. Still, her body was missing. Without it, police had no clear crime scene, no weapon, and no murder charge. RCMP officers searched forests, fields, shorelines, scanned the area. Search dogs were brought in, but there was no trace of Shirley. During one of these searches, officers stumbled on a men's leather jacket, discarded in a ditch, not far from where the car had been abandoned. The jacket was soaked inside with Shirley's blood. It was clearly too large to have belonged to her. Inside the lining, forensic techs found dozens of white cat hairs. Nearby, searchers also recovered a pair of sneakers and a plastic bag. This was the first physical evidence linking someone else to Shirley's disappearance. The family clung to hope, but deep down, they feared the worst. Then, 7 months after Shirley vanished, the case broke wide open. On May 6, 1995, searchers found a shallow grave in a wooded area near North Enmore, just 15 kilometers from Tyne Valley. Inside was a badly decomposed body. The hands were tied behind the back. The clothing was torn. The person had been beaten and strangled. Through dental records, forensic analysis, and the surrounding circumstances, investigators confirmed the body was Shirley and Duguay. RCMP collected a blood sample from Snowball and sent it to the National Cancer Institute in Maryland, one of the only labs capable of testing feline DNA at the time. The test was run by Dr. Marilyn Menotti Raymond, a geneticist. Using STR testing, the same method used for human DNA, her team compared Snowball's DNA to the cat hairs found on the jacket. The results were stunning. It was a perfect match. To be sure, scientists tested 20 more cats from the island, and none of them matched. The hairs found on the jacket came specifically from Snowball. It was the first time in history that a cat's DNA had ever been used in a criminal investigation. But Douglas Beamish never confessed. Even when the evidence pointed directly at him, even when police proved the jacket had come from his own home, even when cat DNA linked him to the body, he denied it all. That meant investigators had to rely on evidence, not words. They turned to forensic science, timeline reconstruction, and Beamish's violent history. Shirley's skull had fractures, showing she had been beaten with blunt force. Her hands were tied behind her back, and the cause of death was believed to be strangulation. Police believe Beamish either lured Shirley to a meeting or attacked her suddenly, possibly after an argument. He assaulted her, tied her up, killed her, and he buried her in a shallow grave and abandoned her car, trying to clean up the scene and remove the license plates. As for the motive, it was as tragic as it was cruel. Douglas Beamish had lost control. Shirley had moved on, taken custody of their 3 children, and was building a new life with her husband Andy. Beamish couldn't stand it. In 1996, RCMP arrested Douglas Beamish. He denied everything, but the evidence was strong. The jacket came from his home, had Shirley's blood, fit his size, and was covered in white cat hairs that matched Snowball. With a clear motive and violent history, the case against him was undeniable. In July 1996, Douglas Beamish was found guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 18 years to life in prison. His appeals in 1998 and 1999 were both denied. In 2013, he applied for parole, but it was refused too. Shirley's 5 children, especially the twins, grew up without their mother. Her parents carried the weight of that loss for the rest of their lives. Still, they found strength in knowing that justice had been served, and that Shirley's story changed forensic science forever. Snowball, the quiet white cat, helped make history. After this case, animal DNA became a recognized tool in criminal investigations across the world. Today, forensic labs regularly test fur, feathers, and even pet saliva to help solve crimes. And it all started here, with a single white hair in a leather jacket buried deep in the woods. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications. There are more real stories ahead. Stories that demand to be heard. Thanks for watching.